Welcome back to Silent Sales Machine Radio. We are your co-hosts. I'm Brian.
And I'm Robin Joy.
And this is Coach's Corner.
Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
It's going well for me. How about you?
Doing well. Looking nice as usual.
Thank you. You look cold.
I went to the doctor yesterday and I'm like, this reminds me of like when I was a kid and we used to go to my grandparents' house.
Yeah.
The way I feel right now.
Yeah.
And he would be wearing a long sleeve shirt with a cardigan sweater. And then inside it, the thermostat would be at 80 degrees. I'm like, holy smokes, it's so hot in here. But lately, I'm becoming that person. I'm like, I'm always
you're
cold.
Cold all the time. Well,
so, I don't know. It could just be age. Let's assume that's what
now
it is,
you're
right?
the grandfather in
I know.
the story.
I am. Yeah, you're right. Funny how things change, right?
Yeah. Well, what's been going on this week for you, Brian?
We've had more than one conversation around a particular topic. Everything we do here is based on, sometimes it's questions directly from our coaching clients that we extract from a coaching session and we bring here. This week, it's more of a
it's kind of an observation of a lot of people we've noticed are in a kind of a slump lately. And we want to talk about that and see if we can help you out.
This is what we're going to call our tough love episode.
Get ready.
So if you're feeling called out, it's not just you. Okay. I'm saying we've had multiple sessions like this over the past few months. And it's like, so here's what happens. There's two phases of this business, which we'll get into in a minute. But the first phase is kind of figuring everything out. Right? You're like, what's an ASIN? How do I make a shipment? Does it really work? Yeah. Really, can I buy it retail and sell and blah, blah, blah.
What do these emails from Amazon mean?
Yeah. How do I handle this refund? All these kinds of fun things, right? And then you sort of get that part figured out and you know how it works. And then you take your foot off the gas. And I say you. I'm like pointing at you, right?
You know who you are.
the royal you.
You know what? I mean.
Oh, I've been there. I mean,
been there. Many, many successful sellers have been there. And absolutely.
It's not a one-time thing necessarily.
Right.
It can happen again and again.
So let's see how we can help get out of this kind of slump going on. When is this happening?
So, typically we've been seeing it a lot lately between this like $3,000 and $7,000 a month range where, okay, I got some things figured out. I got weekly shipments going in, but I'm not really making progress. I'm not growing.
Right.
And so then what happens is you're doing still, a decent amount of work. Maybe you've got some time back, but you're not growing the business. It's not scaling. It's not going where you want it to go.
One thing that maybe happens, Brian, is that in the beginning, it's like, come on, let's get something to happen in what you call the quiet period, right? And all of a sudden, boom, it starts happening. And we always tell people it's usually not an ease in. It's usually kind of a pop. And things start happening. You get really busy and you move along. And then you get that kind of figured out. And then all of a sudden, that first time that I'm talking about now took forever to go by. And then about that much time or so goes by again, and all of a sudden it's time gone, and you don't realize how long it's been since you've moved from that place where you were trying so hard to get started. Yeah. Right?
So, what we're going to talk about today is you have these three parts, right? There's mindset, there's mastery, and there's mechanics.
Okay.
And getting that first part done, now there's got to be a push for the second phase of the business, right?
Yeah, a new push, a new gear.
Yeah. So this is what we're calling the stall. We see the stall happens quite a bit, right? The stall is you're maintaining, but you're not, accelerating. You're not climbing in altitude. You're not growing in revenue, right? And this is where we got to call it out. Like, you hired us as coaches, okay? Whether it's us or another coach in the program.
If you're in the
coaching program, okay? If you're not, consider it, because you hire us to keep you in line.
To show you things that you may not have noticed. Because we've seen this happen over and over and over, and we can see it coming.
I said keep you in line. I sound like I'm such a hard coach, and I'm really not. But you know what I mean? To at least hold you accountable to it. And say, like, to
the degree that is agreed between us. Absolutely.
We have that agreement.
Yeah. But we've seen these things before many, many times, and we can kind of see it coming. And we're kind of seeing it coming for a few of our clients that we're working personal with, and I'm sure they're not the only ones out there.
And so hopefully there's be some lessons here that we share with them that will be beneficial to everyone here.
Yes.
So we talk about this one concept a lot, which is like we're on a takeoff. We're taxiing in the plane, we're going down the run, and we get to the runway, and then we slam on the gas, we mash the gas, and we're trying to
mash the gas.
Get airborne before we reach the end of the runway, right? And we will encounter problems if we don't have enough speed to take off.
Right.
And the closer you are getting, like there's this point where you have to call it. Either, we're taking off.
There's a no-go time,
right? There's a go, no-go. And you're in danger. If you're in this zone, if you're in the stall zone, you're in danger of no-go.
Yeah.
And we've seen it again and again.
You cannot slow down at that point. You've got to push faster, harder.
So the real trick is like keeping yourself from feeling accomplished about the first part of the business. Although you have to give yourself credit there too. You absolutely do, because you learn something completely new and different.
Absolutely. And I'm not sure it's always feeling accomplished. It's more of a, I'm tired.
Oh, that could be. Yeah.
I finally got to a certain point and that made me tired, and I got to go do some more. A little bit. Yeah, honestly, it'll be worth it. If you can take off, then you can take a breath. But until then, you could sit around on that runway for a long time. We've seen it happen. And then people tend to not sit there anymore and quit. And we don't want to see that happen. That's the danger.
They'll go for a while, right? Yeah. And, like, hey, this is like, I'm not really where I want to be. And I totally get it. And then they'll either get up and go. Well, they'll get up and go one way or the other, either to continue on in the business or to leave the business, right?
Okay, so can I tell a story?
Yes.
My dad used to tell this story, and if you can't tell, my dad had a Southern accent. He was a country boy, and he used to tell this story. I'm sure it was not his own. He was a Jerry Clower fan, if anybody knows who that is. But he told this story of how there were two old men rocking in the rocking chair on an old front porch. And there was a bloodhound laying down in front of them, belonged to one of the guys. And the other guy said, hey, how come your bloodhound keeps whining like that? What's wrong with him? And the guy who owned the dog, he said, oh, he's sitting on an old rusty nail. The other guy said, well, why didn't he just get up and move? And the guy who owned the dog, he said, it doesn't hurt that bad.
It's one of my favorite stories to tell. That is actually one of my favorite stories to tell. Like, we hear it a lot.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt that bad.
Yeah.
Well, how bad does it hurt? Apparently not that bad.
Apparently not that bad, because you're not willing to get up and move off of that rusty nail.
Yeah. And that's what we need to do. We're either going to we're going to get up and eventually we're going to move off of it, right? We're going to go back inside or we're going to go hunting.
Right, exactly. So which way are you going to go is the question, right?
Right.
So we see this kind of plateau where people kind of get there. It's not really where they want to be.
Yeah.
But they can sit down for a while and rest, but it's still a little pokey there because that rusty nail's bothering them, right?
So this is a great time to revisit why you started doing this in the first place.
Yeah.
Because what happens is we lose sight sometimes of the end goal or the way we're going to feel when we are accomplished or when we've built a X amount of dollar business or whatever, and the time that we're going to get back, the time we're going to spend with our family, the money that we're going to earn.
Why it's worth it.
And why is it worth it to put in this effort? Because there is a sacrifice. You are trading time and effort for the exchange of building a business.
Yes, absolutely. For building a future.
Oh, there you go. Building a future.
Yeah.
Well, then let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What hurts worse? Pushing harder for a few months or quietly quitting a little bit later?
This reminds me, I'm going to tell stories on myself.
Uh-oh.
When I was a kid, my dad would ask me, after I got to a certain age, he'd ask me if I wanted to be grounded or if I just wanted what he called a spanking. And of course, you beat me, man. I don't want to be grounded. I cannot be held in my room for for a week or 2 weeks or whatever it was. Of course, for him, it was always a month.
Oh yeah.
I wanted it over with. It was going to hurt, but I wanted it over with.
Yeah.
And of course, that he never gave me what I wanted by that time. But
yeah.
But I mean, nobody wants this little bit of pain for a long period. They want it to be done and over with.
Yeah, you got to get it over with.
Push through.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. And the quietly quitting part actually hurts much more. It hurts your pride, hurts your ego, hurts your heart. And I mean, unless you've just decided, I'm fine with this isn't for me, in which case, full support.
Yeah. Right? No rules there. Yeah, of course, no judgment there. But we
fully support you in any decision that you make. So let's say that you've admitted that you are stuck on that nail.
Right.
What are you going to do now?
Well, I've got to decide whether I'm going to keep learning, keep moving, and go towards winning, or just take a whole another path.
The other path, what we were talking about.
Yeah.
That fork stuck in the road.
The fork stuck in the road.
But if you're going to continue forward, I think a new mindset approach could be beneficial here, right? So if we think about the phases of the business I was talking about before, there's kind of like the phase where you're sort of figuring things out, like what's an ASIN and what's a test, and how do I read a keep a chart, and then you sort of get that figured out. That's phase one. Phase two is scaling that up, right? So phase one is the grind, the test, the failure, the repeat, rinse and repeat, learning the 7 core competencies and getting all that stuff down for your business, and then 10x it. Yeah. Right. So you got to focus. You need a plan, and you got to be disciplined in order to make that happen.
More effort, more spending, more units, more testing, more everything.
Yes.
Hopefully you've learned to do it well enough that you have time to fit in more, but you got to push hard to get to the point where you can scale that out.
Well, let's talk about the more time, more effort, more money, right? And let's compare that to the governors that we like to talk about, where we talk about everyone's got a governor that holds them back in this business in the beginning, especially, right? Time, money, or ASINs.
Right.
So in the first phase of this, we can solve for ASINs.
Right.
Okay. We haven't solved for time or money yet. That's still on you, right?
Yes.
Unless if money is a governor, and for some people it's not. So not a problem. What happens though, now when you're going to scale this, you're going to 10x it. You don't have to automatically calculate 10x time. This is where you can start leveraging resources that include services and or people to help you 10x. It's not all on you.
Right. It can't be, because then you're the bottleneck in your own company, and one human can only do the amount that one human can do. Right.
So the scale is not as difficult, assuming there's not a capital challenge. Now, if there's a capital challenge, then you can only grow as fast as you can grow.
Right.
And you just got to plan for it that way.
Right.
That's just the way it is. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you got to keep moving forward until you get to a point where that's not.
So you have to keep reinvesting your profits. Is the quickest way to solve the money governor is profit reinvestment.
Yeah. I think you said you met somebody in your first Proven conference who had been doing it for a while, and this was your first Proven conference. And so before I was involved in the business, and I remember you telling me that he said, I get going and then something happens. Car breaks down. I got to use the money for that. Or, kid gets sick and I got to use the money for that. I don't remember the stories, but this is not protecting your business. These are things that you have to plan for. And yes, life happens. Absolutely. You got to overcome those challenges. I'm not telling you whether you should spend your money on fixing your car or not. You need your car probably if you're doing this business, but think about what your plan is and how this is affecting your plan and how you're going to make up for that.
Well, there's a pretty poignant question we'll get to before this episode's over that kind of hits that nail on the head. Okay. But let's talk, everything always comes back to sports analogies.
We like sports around here, especially football, in case you haven't noticed.
And there's an interesting story that you always bring up around helmet head.
Yes, Jimmy Johnson. I can never think of his name, and I thought of his name now.
Yeah.
His helmet hair.
Oh, helmet hair. Helmet hair. That's what. He's just always crisp and perfect, and it's like he's wearing a helmet of hair almost, right? And so, actually, before we get to that, when we're talking about, if we're going to start with the football analogy, since it is football season, there's the preseason where you're kind of figuring everything out, installing your plan, your blueprints and your game plans, and
getting out there and competing,
getting some practice,
some try, seeing what it's like in live play.
Yes. And then there's the real season. The real season is completely different than the preseason.
Right.
And the real season is where the rubber meets the road, right?
Yeah.
So it is like the difference between, sort of getting your feet under you and getting to $3,000 to $5,000, $7,000 a month in sales, and then 10xing that.
10xing.
Right? How do you go to 50K? That's the real season. That's when everything is on the line, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah. And you have to play to win games.
No, you can play to win games.
Yeah.
But the whole point here about the Jimmy Johnson thing was that
you play to win the season.
You play to win the season.
Yeah.
You don't play to win the game. Right.
But it takes winning games to play the season, but you don't have to win every single game to win the season.
Lately I've been thinking about it, like, if we can just be better than our opponent on average 7% of the time, we will be a winning organization, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You're talking about the Broncos?
Well, I'm talking
someday again we will be
just football in general, right?
Yeah.
Or competition.
Yeah, it works for any team.
Yeah, it works for business too. Yeah. So anyway,
when our own competition is ourselves, when we're trying to beat yesterday's business, then if we can on average be 7% better, we're going to win the season.
That's right. So Jimmy Johnson is a Super Bowl winning head coach.
They call him in when they're going to make a run for it.
He is also a college national championship winning coach with the University of Miami.
He's old. He doesn't do it anymore.
No, I think he just retired last year. But there was a time when, what Jimmy Johnson had was a system. Okay. And the system, and most of the coaches who have been around for any length of time and coach with multiple teams, that's exactly what they have. They've got a way that they approach coaching a team.
Exactly.
Bringing in the culture of an organization to a winning organization, not a middle of the road or a losing organization. And Jimmy Johnson had a system for that. He proved it out at University of Miami. He proved it out again by way of was it a three-peat that Dallas did in the late 90s in professional ranks, and he almost proved it out a third time as the head coach for the Miami Dolphins. Got to the playoffs, but never made it to the big game when he was a coach down there. But I mean, just getting to the playoffs in the world's most competitive sport of American football is not nothing.
Oh yeah, I mean, we were talking about this the other day, and we watched Bo Nix, and we're like, just throw the ball, don't hold the ball. But you got to think about the fact that regardless of what happens to him in competition and how that looks. He is one of 32 people on earth at this moment who is a starting quarterback. 32 on earth.
Yep.
That's an elite position. You don't just get that because you were really good in your resume.
Because you were kind of good.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you were the star of your high school football team.
Right. And it's like the next level from that to be a world champion.
Yes.
Right. And this is what someone like Jimmy Johnson brings. This is what someone like Sean Payton brings. This is what someone like Mike Shanahan and other, I almost said Dan Reeves. Dan Reeves is not that guy. Not that I'm not a Dan Reeves fan, but
Yeah. Dan Reeves is a whole different approach.
Yeah. I'm like Tom Landry and Chuck Noll and these old time, old school coaches like today. It's
very competitive.
And anyone who lasts more than a handful of years has a winning system.
A winning system.
So what we're talking about is going from the preseason and then installing your winning system for the regular season when the real thing starts.
I think we digress. We could sit and talk about football all day long.
For too long,
but
right?
I just want to say those starting quarterbacks, there are 32. There will be exactly one who wins a Super Bowl as a starting quarterback this year. Exactly one.
Yep. That's what makes what Tom Brady did so impressive.
It takes the whole team, but each of them are elite in their position.
Yep. Yeah, no doubt. Well, there's also where there's like this mentality shift where you go from being an employee to being the business owner. Because as an employee, even if you're in a leadership position, you are completing tasks for the most part, right? It's tasks. But owners create outcomes. You are the owner of your business. It's now your responsibility, if you decide to, remain committed here, to create the outcomes that you set out to achieve in the beginning.
Sometimes it's a big adjustment. It was for me. It was a big adjustment for me.
Well, it's also this sort of like big fish, small pond scenario.
Yeah.
Where you're like, in the beginning, you're a small fish in a big pond until you sort of get the fundamentals figured out. And you're like, oh yeah, now I'm doing 5,000 a month. Now you're kind of a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah.
And guess what? You moved to the bigger pond.
Yes.
Right?
I mean, this is what happened to me in college.
Yeah.
Well, before I got to college. So I was in high school, graduated early, had great grades. And I went to college and I looked around and I realized everybody there was the same as me. And so I was all of a sudden a small fish in a big pond again. Mm-hmm. I had been the big fish in the small pond. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it turned over. And so I had to learn how to deal with that. But it made me better.
Yeah. So there's a new level here. You have new peers at this level and new standards. Mm-hmm. And you're not really learning how to do it anymore in terms of like, what are the mechanics? Now you're learning how to win. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're going to get into to wrap this thing up is how do we go from, that mindset to the mechanics here. But before we get there, let me ask you.
Yeah.
What would change if you treated your Amazon business like your paycheck depended on it? Because let's not forget, when we met, I have yet to talk to one coaching client who came in and said, I'm out to make an extra couple $1,000s a month in profit.
Right.
Not one.
Not one that got coaching. No,
they paid for coaching. They're not here to earn $2,000 a month in profit. They're here to
go the next level.
They're here to be 7-figure business owners.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're here to generate $10,000 a month in profit.
It's a tough thing to own, but you have to find a way to own that and become that business owner who is striving towards that goal every day, not just when it feels good, not just when it gets easier, you take your foot off your gas. You got to keep your foot on the gas until there's a point where somebody else can drive for you.
Mm-hmm. And, just because I have to answer every rhetorical question, if you treated your Amazon business like your paycheck depended on it, because it does.
It does.
Because if you think back to when you first started doing this and you're like, yes, I'm going to make a 7-figure business. I'm going to do X amount of dollars of profit a month. I'm going to do whatever.
And you knew why.
And you knew what? Your paycheck does depend on it. And paycheck is not a great idea for this because, word for this.
Income.
Income is another way to say it. Like if you treated your Amazon business like your income depended on it,
so
would you have a different outcome?
Yeah, that's the question. Once you start thinking like a pro, the question becomes, how do you play like a pro? That's where the mechanics and the mechanics of the mindset come in, don't you think?
Oh, for sure. In fact, it reminds me of two things. One is back in the 80s, back in the 1900s, back in my day, the San Francisco 49ers had a winning organization. Joe Walsh.
Gosh darn, they did.
I was getting Joe.
No, not Joe Walsh. The other, I can see him.
No, correct me if I'm wrong. I always get, it's Joe, it's Walsh.
Joe Walsh is from
the guitar player from the Eagles. Not
Eagles,
him. Yeah. Anyway, head coach of the Niners was like, it's not about a perfect practice. It's about practicing perfectly. Mm-hmm. Practice perfect.
Who's the guy who said, we play to win the game?
Dennis Green.
Yeah, okay.
We play to win the game. Actually, no, we play to win the Super Bowl.
We play to win the Super Bowl.
We play to win the Super Bowl. And that's why it's so frustrating as a Broncos fan this year. When you're
this year, for a while.
You play more than 3.5 quarters looking like total junior varsity.
Yeah.
No offense to any junior varsity players out there. And then all of a sudden you can turn a game around in 6 minutes. We just need more of that. Right?
More of that.
We need that 6 minutes to be spread out over 4 quarters.
Because that's too big of a risk.
Your risk is high, and you can do that. You can do that.
Well, I'll get to that. And I see that happening a lot too. Oh yeah. Well, I haven't gotten it done yet, but I'm going to get to it.
Well, you can't win.
I'll have time next week.
2 things about that. You can't win the game in the first quarter.
No.
Okay.
You got to play all 4 quarters.
You got to play all 4 quarters. And if you let too much go by, you almost can't win. You can rarely win in the 4th quarter.
It's
depending
a big
on how far back
risk.
you are, right? So it's just like you have to be committed, and you got to practice perfectly. And that is like every day you are holding yourself accountable to the standards that you have for you in your business.
And there are going to be days when you didn't feel like you won.
Sure.
But this goes back to, I'm not going for 10 out of 10. I'm going for 250 out of 300.
Yeah.
I need to win more games than I lose.
Yes, I need to be 8% or 7% better than the opposing team, right? Or on average overall to have a successful organization. Well, let's talk about what some of those mechanics are.
Okay.
Right? One of the reasons that we start people out with the frameworks in the early days is these will become or can become your systems.
Yes.
And your system, you don't, as they say, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems.
Yeah.
And so your system needs to be like this, something that you're always trying to improve, always trying to raise the floor of performance in your business. But this then sets a new standard. You don't just, to the point I was trying to make a minute ago, heroic efforts rarely work, right?
Right. It's a big risk.
You don't come back from, you don't score 33 points in 6 minutes of a football game ever. I mean, 1 in 1,700 times or whatever the metrics were.
There was the 2-minute offense on the drive.
Well, but they weren't down, 20-some points, right? It was they had 1 touchdown to make up.
That's right.
So anyway, that was to get into overtime, and then they had to win it in overtime too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about the drive. Sorry,
drive.
Any Cleveland fans out there?
Some of you Cleveland fans know what we're talking about.
But part of this is
that was a little dig. We love you, Cleveland. It's okay.
Part of this is you have to keep up with the fundamentals, right? Like just because, okay, now I understand that, I don't need to pay attention to it anymore, reminds me of, as a musician, when I was first learning to read sheet music for a brass instrument, that I was like, oh, I got this down. I don't have to read the music anymore. And then I would get lost every time, or I'd play it wrong. And the same thing happens as a guitar player when I'm like teaching myself a song and I'm like, oh, I got this. Then I never look at the music anymore. And what happens after time is I get farther and farther and farther away from the original.
Yeah, the fundamentals.
That got me there.
Right. And so, there's another thing my dad used to say, dance with the girl who brung you.
Yeah, right.
Those fundamentals are what got you to where you are. That system, those frameworks that you're building got you to where you are. And we see too many people lay off of the frameworks that got them there. For instance, 7 core competencies: sourcing, shopping, prepping, shipping. Sourcing is number 1. It's still number 1 next week, and it's number 1 the week before, the next week after that, and it's number 1 the week after that. And so that sourcing is for a test, which is you're going to shop for it and prep and send in and test. Sourcing, testing. Those 2 things fall off because I got some replans going. I just got to keep this going, and I'll be okay for a while. And then it becomes too long, too fast.
There will come a point in time when you will sort of take your foot off the gas in terms of growth, and you'll be in maintenance mode.
Yes,
but it's not right now if you're not doing $50K a month, right?
If you haven't met the goal that you have, which is probably an income goal.
That's a better way to say that.
Yeah, if it's probably an income goal. And these people that we're talking about have not met their goal.
Right.
They're a long way from meeting their goal.
Right. So that is a really important part, and that is a continuous thing. And there's a reason it's number 1 on the 7 core competencies. You are exactly right.
And testing has to keep happening. This is another thing that falls through the cracks. Our system and the system that we teach includes testing every week, even when you're making $50,000 and you're in maintenance mode, because that's part of your system.
Yes.
And you can't keep that maintenance mode unless you're continually bringing in new ASINs.
And this applies whether you're doing replens or whether you're doing private label.
Sure.
There is always, we talk about this in the book, if you look around at any public or any company that makes products, consumer products, probably even business to business, any products, they're constantly evolving. There's a new flavor, a new size, a new color,
Yeah.
a new formula, a new ingredients list.
Yep.
There's something that is always changing to evolve with the culture, with the economy.
And to bring up and be noticed again. And yeah.
Once you make, your whatever shampoo that everyone loves, you don't just not make anything else. Eventually it's going to go out of favor. You have to find a way to stay up with the times, right? And for us in this business, that is viable to testable to replenishable. That cycle happens all the time.
All the time.
This is the engine that keeps your business running. If you stop doing that, the other stuff is going to eventually go away too.
Right. Exactly. And if you stop doing that, you're going to miss out on all the better business. Like, I don't know how many ASINs are better than what I currently have in my book of business. And I will never know if I don't keep
That's right.
adding
You have to
ASINs.
you keep looking for them to keep raising the floor of your business.
Exactly.
And this is one of the reasons that I talked a lot last episode about the profit profile story and the significant progress that I've seen with a particular coaching client. I'm still on cloud 9 over it. And I hope that she is too. But improving your per ASIN profit on average changes everything for you. And so if things are not like, I had I'm working with another coaching client right now. He sent me a message that, these ASINs that I bought that passed 3-step check, a couple of them have tanked. And my inventory is not even available yet. I'm like, yep, that's going to happen. Like there are circumstances outside of our control. And ASIN could have been above your break even for 3 years. And for some reason, when you send it in, all of a sudden then it starts going the wrong direction.
That's why we don't do one at a time, because we need others to keep a balance.
And that's why we send test units, not 80 units.
Yes.
Right?
Because if there is a loss, then we mitigate that loss.
I had another coaching client, and I know we've talked about this, but it was like, well, I got gated in this product after I bought it, but I have $300 worth of this product. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's not what we talked about.
Yeah.
Right? Like, no, you have to be diversified in your spending and protect, hedge, right? We've got risk. Now, it could have been, she's like, yeah, I'm willing to take the risk. Fine.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Take the risk, right?
Right.
But you
always... can't take the risk and be, figure out, blame everybody else when the risk doesn't work out in your favor. Taking a risk is fine.
Yeah.
No problem.
Right. 100%. It's your business.
Yeah.
And then you get to make the call.
Oof. I knew that was a risk and it didn't work out. Let me try again.
The other thing I see a lot is I'll lax my testing guidelines.
Yes.
Right. Oh, I know it doesn't have profit protection, but I've seen this before. And I'll buy more than I probably should on an ASIN that I probably shouldn't. And then it does go against you and you get caught. I mean, there's a story from a very large seller who's been in our community before who lost, almost 6 figures in a particular product around the holidays because he took a gamble on it that didn't work out. Now, his business could tolerate it. He was fine with that, right? But and you can take those kind of gambles when you have that kind of business.
Absolutely.
But when you're in the initial stages that we're talking about, no, I wouldn't usually recommend that.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
So, planning versus reacting. So in the beginning, we say, just go make a mess. Yeah. We don't mean to actually literally make a mess, but it's messy. It's messy. Go do these things within these frameworks. If you stay within the frameworks, there's nothing there really that's going to hurt you that bad if you, stay within the framework. So, get a little messy with it. It's okay.
It's like you in the kitchen making dinner. You're like, you don't clean as you go. No. You make a mess.
That's why you cook all the time.
No, make a mess. In the beginning part, you have to make a mess because things are going to be messy. It's not going to be pretty.
You won't learn what you need to learn if you don't get in there and get dirty.
Right. That's your phase 1 plan.
Yeah.
Phase 2 of it is what?
Make a plan.
Make a plan.
Make a plan.
Now you got you can wax on and sand the floor and paint the fence and do all the stuff, right? You've even had an exhibition match. Now it's real season.
Now you got to get in.
What is our plan?
Yep.
What is our blueprint to go forward with?
Yes.
And I another coaching client I was working with last night. Sorry, I've had 3 sessions in less than 24 hours, so I'm all amped up on coaching sessions right now. And he's like, what is my, I need help with a plan. But he's so early stages that I'm like, your plan right now is you just got to keep testing. I need like 6 weeks of consistent inbound shipments from you. That's going to make the mess, and then we're going to make the plan, right?
Yeah. But that's also going to teach you so much, and it's going to give you some replenishables.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then we can go to the next step and figure out what we do with the replenishables. But testing is really all you can do in the beginning.
That's right. You don't have anything else to do except for test. Yeah. So not everything has to be perfect. You just have to keep on testing.
Yep. Agreed.
So when is the last time? This is rhetorical for the audience. When's the last time you reviewed your book of business like a head coach reviewed game film? And that is evaluating every player on the field, right? And every play that was run. Where could we get better?
Can you imagine that fumble just before the touchdown when it was a game-winning touchdown that would have happened and you fumbled just before you got there? Can you imagine sitting with your head coach and watching that film?
Yeah.
Not fun.
No, not at all. This whole thing, the second part here is this winner's mindset. It's not about just getting that effort done once. Oh, yeah, I did it. No, it's about doing it repeatedly, time after time after time. And I think that's why some people sort of stall, is they're like, oh, this starts to get a little boring. Yeah. And the truth is...
It does. And you get tired.
Yeah.
You get tired.
It feels monotonous. You get frustrated too.
Push through that. Yeah, you do get frustrated. But remember, you're on the runway and you've got to get up to speed enough to take off by the time you get past the runway. You cannot coast. You cannot take your foot off the gas or you will not be able to take off.
It's like my uncle Darrell Waltrip used to say, you got to go.
Your uncle.
We're always talking about your dad. I needed a relative here.
Darrell Waltrip is nowhere near your uncle, but but yeah, he used to say that. You got to go.
Yeah, like there's 5 laps left here. We got to go win this race, right?
That's right.
We got to go now. You better hold on to something.
You better hold on. That's right. That's completely somebody else. Yeah, winners and quitters are not that different.
Yeah, you're right. Winners just keep going when it got boring.
Yeah.
And there is a part of this business that is kind of boring. It's rote. You do the same. In the beginning, it's exciting because it's all new to you. But after a while, it's the same.
It becomes the same thing over and over. 7 things you do every week.
It's like the dinner. If you had the same thing for dinner every single night, well, I guess unless it was pizza, I could probably. No, I can't do pizza anymore.
I can't do pizza.
You know what I can eat. You know what I can eat 7 nights a week. At least for seven nights, and then I'd be about done with it. Any red sauce dish, I could probably pull that off.
I would be done with it way before that. Yeah. But your red sauce you made last time
you got to get used to eating the red sauce dish all the time and learn to love it. Find new ways to prepare it. Right. New ways to look at it.
Yeah, and this is the continual improvement, continual learning that has to go along with your system. Yep. Put it all into the system. These are not extra things. These are things you have to build into the system. Yeah. So, Brian, do you have a quote for us today?
I do. We're going to switch gears from sports and NASCAR, auto racing, and all that stuff, and your dad's friend with the bloodhound and all that, to Aristotle.
That's a big swing. Okay, Aristotle.
Aristotle says, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit.
The habit of excellence. That's the truth that most sellers kind of miss, right? Winning isn't a big move. It's a bunch of little moves.
Yes.
It's what you keep doing even when you're tired of doing it. This is discipline. Discipline is, you don't need discipline if you're excited and motivated. Yeah. You need discipline on the days that you don't feel motivated.
That's right. And that's what we're talking about is you got to find a way to keep pushing even after the sort of thrill or the excitement is gone in that process. Find a new way to make it exciting. And when that excitement has left and the work is all that's there for you to do, you still got to do it.
Yeah.
Just like right now, if you've got a job, you still got to go to work even though you don't want to.
Right. And then it gets boring after a while.
So
you don't need a new strategy.
You need a new batch.
A new batch of test ASINs.
Yeah. because every test teaches you something, right?
Right.
Either you make them profit, you see the pattern, or you learn about patience.
Yeah. Yeah. Patience is very important in owning a business. So what do we do when we get stuck?
Oh, this is a trick question. I know the answer to that. We test more ASINs.
Test more ASINs. Thanks, everybody. We'll love you and we want to be there for you. Yep. And please know that we are sending our best love and encouragement out for you to get up and get going again.
Yeah.
You got this.
It's that tough love session. Hopefully it wasn't too tough. Yeah. We'll see you on the other side.
Let's go test some more ASINs.
All right. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for joining us for today's episode. But before I let you go, let's spend a couple minutes with a good friend of mine, Jeff Schick of jeffschick.com. Of course, if you've listened for a while, you know he is the resident expert that we love around here for all things Amazon policy, Walmart, legal, e-commerce, anything along those lines. Man, they've seen it. They've done it. They're serving hundreds of our listeners with excellence for many, many years. So I'm always excited to see what he's got on his mind. He always teaches us something useful. What's up these days, Jeff? What are you seeing, man?
So what's on my mind this week is buyer-seller messaging. So, a lot of times we'll see posts where people will say like, oh, this cease and desist letter came in through buyer-seller messaging, and therefore I can ignore it because it's probably from another seller. That's one possible answer. Or it came in from buyer-seller messaging, so they're not a serious brand, so I don't have to worry about the threat. And so it's really what the whole point of the to talk about is that is to think about buyer-seller messaging as an early warning system. Is it as official as a cease and desist letter showing up by certified mail or by FedEx? Of course not. It's not. It doesn't care. It's not. No one would say that it's as serious. But it still can have, far-reaching consequences, because the interesting thing about the brands that tend to do, what I call self-help measures through buyer-seller messaging is that those brands are likely to file the false IP complaints that get someone's account suspended because they don't know what they're doing. So, an interesting fun fact about Voorhees is that they may send a lot of scary letters, but their brands generally don't file IP complaints against sellers. On the other side of the spectrum, the companies that do send cease and desist letters, or that sent, via buyer-seller messaging, or now we're seeing some by text message, even coming from law firms. Those are real threats to think about, because those brands are the most likely to then escalate it to, false IP complaints against a seller. And while those are treatable, they sometimes can cause businesses to get shut down in the process.
So what I'm hearing so far is, even if the scary message comes through Amazon messaging, it doesn't mean you can safely ignore it, which is kind of some of the popular sweeping advice that you'll see in the Facebook groups and such. And anytime you see universal advice, there's nuance to everything. So that's why I love having you guys on retainer, Jeff, is we'll just send it to you. It's like when I get a letter from the IRS, I don't even open it. I just send it to my accountant who's been in the business for years. Same thing with Amazon policy, legal, stuff like this. Just send it to you guys. And most of the time, I got to say, yeah, you can ignore that. But sometimes it's like, you know what, we might want to back off of that particular ASIN or that brand. You might want to, shelve them for a while. We were hearing some things. So I love that. I love that advice today, that general sweeping advice that says, you could ignore messaging. There's no way to prove it's actually the brand anyway. It's not necessarily good policy, is it?
No, it's not. It's good if you don't care about the person who you're giving the advice to. I'll put it that way.
Right.
But
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, that is really good to know. So Amazon does allow, or at least it accommodates, brands that reach out to sellers through their own messaging system. And some of those could actually be legit. Although I have heard those cases, man, where it's just another seller trying to scare someone. And it's hard to know the difference sometimes. But that's why we got you guys on retainer to help discern. All right. Well, anything else along these lines? I think we kind of made our point, but anything else that you're seeing that we need to know about along these lines?
I guess one thing I would clarify too about the whole buyer-seller messaging is that technically it is a violation of Amazon terms of service to send those messages via buyer-seller messaging. But even though it may be against terms of service, it's not stopping the brands from doing it. And that's why I always tell people, if the brand is willing to violate terms of service doing that, what else are they willing to violate? And usually it's brand registry terms of service next. So that's, that's where we always say, hey, that just because they broke a rule doesn't mean you can ignore it, because that's between them and Amazon. But if they broke that rule, what else are they willing to break? So
yes, exactly. And on this too, one of the lessons you taught me, I think this is the add-on little tip. See if I get this one right, Jeff. But I know my team and I, we stopped messaging other sellers entirely, ever, through the system, just because you are potentially opening up a bit of a can of worms to message another seller and say, hey, what are you doing with this ASIN? Or you're not supposed to do that. You are not the Amazon seller police. Don't try to be. Don't contact other sellers informing them when they violated policy, because that can be a black mark on you. I think that's a good tag on. Am I stating that correctly?
No, you're 100% correct there, because we have had sellers get suspended because they thought they were being helpful by telling another seller that they were breaking policy, and then the other seller reported them to Amazon, and then Amazon said that you're intentionally harming or harassing another vendor on the platform.
Yeah, intimidating someone else, right or wrong.
Exactly.
Let Amazon be the Amazon police. You are not deputized.
Right. It is their business and their decision making. Right. That's all that matters in there.
That's good stuff. A couple of really good tips for folks today. I really appreciate you, Jeff. And for those who don't know, let me just remind you, jeffschick.com is where you want to go. Put these guys on retainer, a few dollars per month. Could save you thousands if you run into a legal situation, and you can bounce all these things past them. He's got such a great team, and we just love working with you. Thanks for sponsoring the show, Jeff.
You're welcome. Thank you.
See you next week, right?
Sounds good. We'll be here.
Bye for now.